Textures. Textures, textures, textures. It is a key part to any video game or any project that you're going to be working on. The thing is about textures, there's a lot of people, and they still swear by Adobe, which is great if you work for a giant corporation, or if you're making enough money to go ahead. Yeah, they do have some streamlined tools, but more and more people are dropping Adobe. And that's because with Adobe, you don't pay, you don't buy it. It's rented. And a lot of people say, no, we're not renting it. It's rented. I mean, and that's coming straight from the horse's mouth. Now, the thing with Adobe is rented software. Period. That's all that it is. It's 100% rented software. Meaning anything that you use, if you don't rent it and you use a pirated version, you will have your game taken down. And a lot of times you are subject, they're a corporation. They will come after you. There's no doubt about it. Let's not also forget, when it's taken down, you will have all ties cut completely from whatever platform you put it on. Until you take that off. I mean, it's happened with, what was that? Only Up. They got caught. Same thing. And these are the terms of service and end user license agreement that you need to go ahead and look at. Now, what I'm proposing to you guys, or what I'm giving to you guys, is just a little bit of knowledge. You can still get great looking textures, 4K textures, out of free to use software. And I wanted to double check because somebody told me, they were like, no, you 100% do not pay for it. It's not paid whatsoever. Well, I literally just talked to them. Right here, the virtual assistant. And I was wondering, because they say they give you 30 days free, which is cool. I mean, if you complete that within the 30 days, that's fine. And I asked him, is it like 30 days, calendar days, or 720 hours? Because 720 hours would probably make more sense, considering when you jump from any program from one to the other, there's a huge learning curve every single time, unless you've already been using it, which if you're working for a corporation or you're working for a game company, they usually cover this stuff. Not a big deal. Or if you're a professional modeler, you take this and cut it out of what you have. And the more you do something, the better you get at it. If you're doing a game and you're putting it on Steam, they take 30%. If you're using, I think it's 25% for the Unreal Engine, I'm not positive, but it's 33% it's either 30 or 33% for Unity. If you use Unity right now, just go away. Anybody that uses Unity after what they pulled, never again, never Unity. So I talked to chat with an agent. I just said, hey, I was looking at Substance Painter because I was interested in it. Is it 30 days, like 720 hours? I asked them the same thing, calendar days. They asked, oh, sorry, I meant to ask your name. It's like, all right, whatever. And I just explained to them, look, that's usually going to be a follow along with tutorials or looking at documentation. 30 calendar days is in 30 days, which today is the 10th. It would end on 4/10. I will be happy to set up the free trial for it. No, when you set up a free trial, you set it up. You make sure that you set up free trials. I did that once with, who did I use? I think it was Corel way back in the day. That was a problem. And any program, I mean, I don't even like Netflix, but I get Netflix because, okay, yeah, that is a rental thing, and they do cycle the product. This is a product that they're going to continue to keep no matter what. They're going to continue to make money off it, but they're going to rent it to you. I could understand an upgraded version. Can you imagine if you had to rent Windows? Seriously, can you imagine if you had to rent your operating system? But it's companies like this that will push that. It's crap like this that gives companies and corporations the bold, brazen guts to do what Unity Corporation did, or whatever it is. I mean, that CEO, he even said something along the lines of, can you imagine you're in the heat of battle and you have no more bullets? And it said, for $1, you'll get a clip. microtransactions and all that other crap all started because of these subscription shits. So I said no, and I just said, hey, look, can you do a month-to-month plan, you know? Or she said you can go with a month-to-month plan, or you can pay for a whole year. Which if you pay for a whole year and you find something else that you like, you still paid for the whole year. You don't get your money back. So I just said, so it's a rental. Yes, it's a month-to-month subscription. Subscription, rental, same exact thing. You are renting this. You do not own this. Meaning anything else that you have on here, whatever you've compiled or put out, okay, that's yours to keep, but you can't edit it. You can't do anything else with it. You got to read the terms of service. They basically own you. And then, of course, they go ahead and put down where you can reach them at, you know, if you have any questions. And they have a privacy policy, which I did read. And it doesn't say anything about reading the right here, so I know I'm covered on that. Now, Quixel Mixer is free as long as you don't use their textures. And if you do use their textures, you can use them for free, but with the Unreal Engine. So if you're choosing to use the Unreal Engine 5, you got Mixer. The thing with Mixer is all these little textures, other people are using them too. And when you use the same textures as everyone else or the same models, it's all looking the same. And now we have an oversaturated market with games. It's oversaturated with the same assets, with the same textures. There's a billion Backrooms games, and they all pretty much have the same wallpaper. It's the only thing that's really different is the character controller. So did they pay for a character controller that someone else made? Did they write it themselves? That's all the difference for the... And the Backrooms games, I'm not knocking them. I own 3, 4 of them. They're great. They're fun. But everything's starting to turn out to be like a Backrooms game. And it's just, yeah, pain in the neck. Now, with this, you also get Substance Designer. And all I really want is Substance Painter. I don't need Substance Designer. I don't need any of that. What we have right here is another alternative, Agma Materials. I can go ahead and I can throw that. It's agma.itch.io, Agma Materials. And this is the free version of Material Designer that they are updating. It's been a little while, but it does the same thing. You can paint right on it, and you can design right within it. The problem with this designer is it's a little bit rough around the edges. They got some work to do. However, what they do have is TextureLAB, another itch.io. And this is by MJ Brown. And the community here has been great. They have a Discord community, and it's very easy. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a small little model, and we're going to create our own texture that nobody else has. And if you follow along, I mean, we'll have it. You can do what you want with it. I mean, it'll be my gift to whoever decides they want to copyright it first, because textures.com is gone, baby. It's gone. Remember how textures.com was free? T-U-R, I cannot spell tonight. Done. There is no more. What do they got for free? They have a free content now. This is it. This is what you get for free. No more credits. It got so big and everybody was using this stuff that they were like, we're going to go ahead and we're going to charge you to use it. I remember downloading the air conditioner. I forget which air conditioner it was that I used in the model. Premium only, premium only. That's for 782 by 1024. Yeah, it's done. They realize that people are paying for this. Now, we're going to go ahead, we're going to jump in. And if I drop a lot of F-bombs, it's because I really don't care anymore. I'm done with YouTube. It's gone full corporate bullshit. It's not fun anymore. And before people are like, hey, look, you almost hit 1,000 subs. I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm at like 500, 600 something, like 610. I looked at it today. I'm like, oh shit, people are still subscribing to me. If you're seeing this, do not bother subscribing. Just bookmark the page. I really don't care anymore. I don't want to get monetized. I don't want to have anything to do with YouTube. I like watching what other creators make, and that's about it. I'm putting all my content on Rumble now. Completely. Just so you know. So we're going to be working with TextureLAB. And again, it's open source. And this is the beauty of it. People are paying money right here. For this right here. They're paying money so that a corporation can say you're using this product that you have zero input with. Whereas with Agma Materials, again, it's open source. All of these are both this and TextureLAB. Completely open source. Let's see if we can put this back here. Now, it says no, Derek. We will not allow you to do. Oh, wait. Yep, there we go. So, open source. You go in here, you can compile it. Heck, you can give pointers like, what do you want? Their Discord, great community. And when you go in here and you check out what they have, a lot of them are their JavaScripts, .json. I think I saw, I forget what else. But you can go ahead and you can change everything around. And you can make it better. And then you can re-upload it. They'd love to see it. That open source is the way to go. Not corporate crap. And now you're seeing a lot of more people use TextureLAB, and you're seeing a lot more people use Agma. But just because of the bull crap that Adobe's been pulling with, hey, I just want to use Substance Painter. Well, you also get Substance Designer and the asset and blah, blah, blah. I just want the painter. Well, you also get, you know, the Photoshop, and you got to choose your package. I don't want to choose. I just want this. Well, no, this is what you get, right? But how much just for this? Well, you got to pay $49.99 a month for the 3D collection. But so $50 a month. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I am all set with that. Not going to do that. Again, Mixer's free. We may be using that tonight. So let's go down and we're going to jump in. We're going to make our own 100% open source, 100% free. Let's build a little model of something. We'll start off with a tile floor. And then I'm just hitting A to select everything and then shift and actually, is this the one? Oh, I did. Okay, cool. We got the screencast keys here. So we'll do that. We'll set the origin. We'll go right here. We'll zoom in and out. And we'll hit Shift and A. And we'll build this. I'm going to hit Shift and Tab. Scale. And we'll scale it by 4. Now we have a plane. I want to make a tiled floor. You can't go and you cannot get these textures anymore from textures.com. Oh, I had to close it. Textures.com. You can create a free account to download their free content, which is this. That's all you get. No more free textures. Done. There's other ones that are out there, but again, it's ones that everybody has used. It's a smaller selection, and everybody is using the free textures. All these we're going to make, and all these that you see right here are examples. So we want to make a tiled floor. Let's check out, see what they have. So what we're using here is TextureLAB, and you're presented with an albedo, I can never say that. You switch the A and the L around. Oh yeah, Adobe's terrible, man. Adobe is like the worst of the worst. Like they try to get you in there, and again, it's like let me see if I can pull this up again. If you say you get halfway through a project, you're screwed. Then what? You got to do another year? I like the whole point of when I buy software, I buy it, and I give the point. Can you imagine if you had to rent Windows? And if people continue to pay for this, corporations are going to think they're going to get away with it. Look at freaking, I said it twice before, Unity. Unity got the balls to do that, but they got the balls for a reason, because they were damn sure that somebody was going to pay for it. And people bring up, hey, look, if we're in Blender, why don't we just jump into the shading and use these here? Here, we'll do a new. Because you can, it's still the same thing. That's great, but it only works within Blender. And then when you export it, The best thing about PBR textures, because that's what this is the PBR texture maker, is you can take your output from this, the map file, and put it in and make any material in any program that you want. What you see out here is what you're going to get when you put it into the engine, whatever engine you choose you're going to make. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, but if you go up into examples with just these right here, look at gold line marbles. This looks a little crazy and might be tough to be like, whoa, looks like a lot, but they just took a a line cell, and then they blended it together using a directional warp. Meaning whatever this does, it warps it into it. This was their output. And the great thing about this program is 1024. Well, I want 2K. So you hit 2048 and it just changes it automatically. Then you can go and export it. This is their file. I'm pretty sure you can use this if you want, but I've already seen this in a couple games. So people are using this. This is a thing. Because of the monthly subscriptions, might give this a try. So there's this. I mean, this is what my channel's about, but again, don't bother. This is kind of like my my farewell stream. I'm over on Rumble now, so don't bother subbing or anything like that. I mean, I might slowly take down my videos. I gotta reread the terms of use for YouTube. They rubbed me the wrong way after a strike, and I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. Homie, don't play that. And I fought the strike. And of course, they were like, yep, nope, we're fine, our mistake. I'm like, yeah, your mistake, bullcrap. If I didn't say anything, I would have had a strike on my record. I'm good. I'm not doing that. Then they took the tile. We'll get into this. We'll make our own. So right here, and within that time, I've made so many textures. Let's hit open. No, I don't want to save it. Where did I put it? I like to put everything underneath C and then ADOBE Materials, which is another one. Let's jump into this real quick. This is a no. ADOBE Materials is another open source, which is material. That looks a little rough, only because they're using the materials that they made in here. I would recommend making everything in TextureLAB because it goes pretty smoothly, and just import them into this. I have a couple. I was subbed from like a year ago. You got a Rumble link? Yeah, it's here. I'll throw it into the chat if I can find it. It's Gauge MP5. I think it's and it's mostly gaming stuff. I think that's it. Pretty sure. I'm not positive. I think it's, but that's the username. It should pop right up. You'll see the Sekblucker symbol or whatever. Same thing. And if you look through some of my tutorials, I started using this. This is great once you get the hang of it. It's still a little bumpy, but again, it's open source. There are things that you can go in, or if you have a friend that codes, you can upgrade it. You can make it better. And that's one thing Adobe will never do. They won't put out their source code. They won't want you to make it better. And people, they pay on their own. All right, sweet. Well, thank you for the follow, dude. All right. So we're going to go in here, and I'm just going to give this as an example. This, for our base color, we're going to use an image texture. So our, we're going to be image. Where are you? And I'm using an older version of Blender right now. I think this is, what version is this? I forget. Anyways, we haven't made it yet. So let's go ahead and we will jump back into here. So we got C, Agma materials, and materials made. I've made so many different textures. And with these, prototype, which one was this? What was I doing here? I was messing around with different types of... Oh, that's right. I was trying to do an asteroid crater. But again, this is my texture. Nobody can take that from me. Adobe can't say, hey, look, you haven't paid your wages towards us. I mean, it's open source. So we're going to make a tile one because tiles are pretty easy, but we're going to use some of the other options here. Another one that I was pretty fond of was when I worked on the carbon fiber. I was messing around. I think it was fiber. Oh. No, this was just fiber. But I was messing around making carbon fiber as well. This gets messy. We'll go into trying not to make it as messy. There are methods. I like to call one the stitch method. And here we want this to be a tile. So very simply, you have 3, 4 options. You can take a tile, and then you can take a polygon, plug it into your tile, and that's your albedo. If you do gradient down at the bottom, you can start to add a gradient and just drag it and drop it right in there. It's all visual. It's pretty easy to use for the most part. I like to do, if you're doing an old school retro game, you can change it to 64. Yeah, 64 by 64, like N64 looking graphics. A lot of people are starting to make those old games again. It automatically downgrades it. It also automatically 2048 upgrades it. Or it goes up to 4K, 4096, but this gets a little bit sketchy as your textures get a little bit bigger. I would recommend just taking 2048 and then physically putting it in stitching. And with this, it's good, but you can add better effects after using Materialize. And if you haven't heard of Materialize yet, it should be in the link. That's Bounding Box software. Who used this? This is great. You can take photos and it automatically creates your own texture out of it. I use this with the texture that I made and I bring that in there. We'll check that out after. But right here, so this looks all right. That's cool. But we need a tiled floor. So right here, we're going to bring down our sides to 4. And I want to bring down the gradient. And I want to bring up the radius. Right here is the actual picture file. So let's bring up the radius so that it goes just outside the lines. Hey, look at that. And then in our tile option, we can go ahead and we can change the offset so that it turns into regular tiles like that. Oop. Or you can go down and you can change the columns and rows. Columns, rows. I'm going to add some more rows to it, or I'm sorry, columns to it to make it look like brick. Now, these look like nice clean bricks. I want to make them look a little, I don't know, busted up a little bit. So what we'll do here is in one of these, whenever you want to do anything to change this or whatever, you got to turn it into a picture, because right now you're working with vectors. So by transforming it into 2D, you're transforming it into its own picture. From here, you can scale it down. Now the gray, that doesn't work out too well. So I would scale this down, bring the radius, and here, then you can scale it up. So, see the difference? But right here, because of this, we have this as big as we possibly want it. There's directional warps. Slope blur, that's fun to work with. Tile samplers are the same thing as tiles, but you can mess around with the individual tiles on this. So let's do rotation. And you can do random rotation, and it will randomly rotate each one. This is good if you're going to do like splattering of grass. We can make some grass things. Again, it doesn't look at that. And the reason why this is showing the normal is because, again, I plugged this directly into the normal. Now it's already starting to get a little bit messy, but let's see what happens when we use the directional warp. So you put this in here, and it's already starting to shift. You need to tell it how it's going to shift, and this uses grayscale as well, kind of like a height map. And a good one for this that I personally like to use is the fractal noise. Just because here, you can change the seed. If you keep the seeds all the same, this is 0, this is 0. We'll go over how each one kind of falls into place. You want to try to keep the same seed. So we'll go up here, fractal noise, and now it looks like there's a tear. But with the directional warp, you can change the angle. So now that we have this like that, we can plug it right in, and we have some rough around the edges. You could export this right now, and I'm pretty sure nobody would have this exact, well, they might. So let's take this and let's scale it up a little bit. And as we scale it up, you can see it just start to tear. Well, look like it's about to tear. You also have height maps. Black is the absolute lowest, white is the absolute highest. If we plug that in, it looks pretty wonked out. Here, we'll plug it in so that it matches the rest of them. That's way too far out. So you want a map range. And I always put a map range on the height map because, well, you can imagine when you import it into Unity or wherever, it gets a little sketchy. So let's bring down the minimum, bring down the maximum, because black's the absolute lowest, white's the absolute highest. If you go down and you want something to go below black, you can't put anything below that. Same thing with nothing gets higher than absolute white. So you go somewhere in the middle, and you can start scrolling up or down. I like to give myself enough wiggle room to where when I go ahead and I put other textures in, and I start using Mixer to overlay or like overlap them, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. It works great for skinning. So we got this right here, this right here. Here's our height. And we have a map range. So this is exactly the same as this. The only difference is we changed around the map range a little bit. But these, for the most part, are pretty much the same. Let's change the color right now to, I don't know, a regular brick. So there's a couple different ways. You can blend. We'll do color. And the top one. And we'll choose color red. Now, if you do opacity, then you can choose two separate colors. So one, this is one color, this is another color. It only does two at a time, but again, you can mix them together. So we'll throw another color in here. That one's black. And we will add. So you're adding this on top of this, and this is your opacity between the two. And you can bring it down or up. You can change how it looks from there. And that's great for when you throw it into the albedo. Now that's looking pretty rough around the edges. So we might want to mess around with that a little bit differently. We have fractal noise here. What we can do is we can change this to 2D and we can zoom in. If you can't zoom in anymore, you can also scale on the X and the Y. So we'll scale up by 1.5 by 1.5. And it kind of simulates it zooming in a little bit more. Or you can just flat out do 2 by 2. And here we scaled it up by 4. So you divide it by 2. I think this is, if we go here and you go down, that's what you're going to get. So it's almost, and we did that so that we don't have to use another fractal noise, another start point. And what we'll do here is for our tile, we can go ahead and on this, we can do another blend. And I'm going to blend this right here with the top. And this right here with the bottom. And that multiplied it. Now you can see the shading a little bit around the edges. And if I blend these two, we can bring down the opacity, bring that up some more. We'll add and scroll down a little bit. So let's try to tile this. It's a little bit tough. That's kind of really raking it in there right here to here to here. So if we just do this, now it cuts that out, and we can use a map range to limit the amount that we have right in here. And we'll plug that into the top. And it's starting to get cluttered, so we'll mix it out. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. This down. And then we'll use this as a base and we'll overlap that with something else. So right here, we're going to come down. We're going to come down over here. This we don't need. We can get rid of it. And it starts to get a little bit crazy. This, I'm going to stitch it so I know that this goes here. This is great when you have to stack things like these two. And that goes up there. So we'll put this one at the bottom. We'll grab all these actually and pull them away from there at the moment. Our normal map is pretty hefty. Let's bring down the strength and bring up the range. Getting there. Let's do 1024. We'll drop it. We'll drop the range just a little bit. Not bad. So we're starting to get like the little grooves that some bricks get. Now that might not work too well because this might actually be better if we just take this and throw it straight into this map range and kind of pepper it. And from here, can bring this up and bring up the output minimum. Keep going down. Notice how it kind of cut out around there, which is good. It's not a bad thing. That's kind of what we want. But this right here is a polygon, and we're going to shave off the gradient now. See what happens? That's because we transformed the 2D completely out of bounds. So we're going to scale it down. There. Now we're starting to get all the little edges there. We're going to put it down, and we're going to do a plane just to look to see how we're going. Not bad. Roughness. Now the roughness sometimes changes a little bit. This is good here. Start over here. This can come up. These two can go right like that. And then I can take these and bring that out a little bit. That way it makes it a little bit easier to follow. I can stack this right on top of that one, just to make it a little bit easier. This is in the middle. That's always tough. Sometimes you will have crossovers. These are no longer being used. So we're going to delete this one. We're going to delete this one. And a lot of it's trial and error. But once you get the hang of it, you're going to notice yourself, oh, hey, that's how I do that. So we have this part right here for our brick, which isn't too bad. It's not the best, but for right now, starting, it's not bad. And we're going to take our roughness. Now we can bring these back over. Our roughness right here, we'll just throw that right into our roughness. And it looks like it's a little bit wet, so the mighty map range. And we'll bring it up as there. And we'll add 3x tiling. Well, no, we'll do 2. Where's the other? Yeah, there we go. So in there kind of looks a little bit better. These, we want these to be a lot darker. So I can take the tile and I can either do another tiling, or I could go ahead and threshold it. So what threshold does is it takes all the little scattered parts and it draws black lines out of them. And as you bring up the threshold, it goes down. So let's take that and we'll bring this up. And now it'll be the threshold that jumps in there. And that covers your albedo. Albedo. I can't talk. There, you got a brick wall. Not bad, not crazy. Looks a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Prototypey. But again, we're not done. We're not even close to done. So we're going to take these. I'm going to throw that one on top. These can go over here. That can come down to about here. And I know this goes up and over. That goes out. This is the height map. So what you want to do is when you follow your height, okay, the height goes through the map range into the tile. And then from the tile, it's blended between these two. So you can start changing around the different types of how big or how small you want it to be. And depending on what you do, you want to make sure that if you're using this and it's connected to everything, that's going to change everything. So sometimes you will need to take your good luck on your future content creation. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks. Well, definitely appreciated, man. I'm I'm mostly doing gaming and stuff over there. It's actually been a pretty damn quick pickup. I already got 50 no, 30 followers. I don't know how many followers I get. I probably got to check it out. But yeah, like 30. Um without hiding stuff. Oh yeah, no, absolutely, dude. Texture, I just went through the whole spiel about how I hate Adobe. I even messaged an Adobe person, was like, so we're basically renting the software. They're like, it's subscription based. Yes, it's like rental. You're renting it. You don't own it. Got it. $50 a month. Yeah, I'm good. Have fun with that. Homie, don't play that. So we're coming down here. We're throwing these in. We got our roughness. We got our height. Now, our normal map is a little bit, if you looked at normal maps, that's pretty intense. Let's bring down the strength. If we reverse it, jack up the range. There. And in order to really see it, we need to kind of get that. Now, all that speckling, kind of a problem. So another good thing to do is you can take the tile and you can copy it and paste it. But when using this program, again, it's open source. If you want to make rust skins or anything like that, it's all hidden. Yeah. Yeah. They also try hide your bit. Yeah, they do hide your billing. I used Photoshop for 3 months. It's all it took for me to be like, nope, I am good. I'm sticking with GIMP. It's what I know. Because back then it was 7 days free or whatever. And that was the learning curve. You know, there's learning curve no matter what you do. There's going to be a learning curve. And what you're paying for is the learning curve. And in order to get anything done, that's not to get anything done. Unless you have nothing to do and you do that nonstop. But even then, you know, what they should do is time it by the hour. You know, do like a Steam thing. But they refuse to do that because they know you're not going to stick with it. They know it's going to be overwhelming. Things are going to crash. You're going to be going on there. And your first year or two is just going to be the learning curve. And if you're working for a big company, you have all the help in the world. You have other people that have been using it. If you're an independent developer, that's a lot of money. I mean, don't forget, when you're making a game and you're putting it on Steam, that's either 30 or 33% just for Steam's cut. Just for Steam's cut. Then you have your engine. And most engines are what, 30%? I believe it's 25 for Epic. And I don't think they charge you another fee to put it on their storefront if you use their game and then sign that for the first year. Believe it or not, people were pissed that, you know, oh, Epic, what the hell? Epic was helping out the developers. They were like, look, if you put it on our storefront for 1 year, and then you can put it on Steam, but you can keep, we'll waive the fee for, I forget, either the engine fee or the store fee. So all you're paying is 30 something percent. That's it, like 30 or 33%. And if you decide to use the Unreal Engine, put it on the Unreal Store and Epic, you'd have to go through the terms of service. These things change all the time. But when I had looked at it, they waived one of the fees. It would be senseless not to use the Unreal 5 engine at this point just because of how versatile it is. And I remember one of the great things about Unity was such a big world size that you could create without actually having to worry about load times and all that other stuff. Unreal, it felt like, you know, as soon as you left this building, then it was a load scene. You guys remember that? The Unreal 4 engine? Like, you'd go somewhere, it was a lot of load scenes. Whereas Unity, it almost seemed seamless because there wasn't a lot of loading in and out. Unity, after what they pulled, I don't know why anybody would use that. Metalness we're not going to really need. Yeah, it takes time to get over all that learning curve and clean up. $50 a month. Exactly. Yeah, $50 a month does not, no. Especially if you're an indie developer or if you have a team. And again, textures are getting harder and harder to find. Like when you look at games, next time you check it out, like look at any indie game. Most of them are all the same textures. Hell, all the same models. You know, there's big money in making your own, or you save a lot of money on making your own. It does take time. But like I was just saying, here, we'll call this file save as. It's always good to save your stuff. Yeah, right here. I'm building up. These are all mine. I made all these. These are all mine. Every single one of them. And then I can take these and put them in Mixer and for free mix my own textures and create even new textures out of this. It's there's no need to pay $50 anymore. Yeah, but you know, it's the industry standard. I'm sorry, have you seen the standard of games lately? It's all garbage. Yeah, but texturing so many different games. It's like 100 textures. Yeah, it's, well, you figure if I take this texture and mix them together, that's a whole nother texture. Then if I take that whole other texture and mix it with this texture, that's a whole nother texture. Then I could take that texture, go back there, that's that. But I could take this one, and then texture that, and then texture it with those two, and then kind of mix them together. Right here, I have probably, there's so many different textures that I can use. It's ridiculous. You do it for fun, for money, but yeah, you really could make a lot of bread. Yeah, yeah, and again, you don't, with these people and like terms of service, textures.com is gone. It's there, it's just not free anymore. They have a little free section that you still have to sign up for, but their free section is like what was it when we went over it? It's laughable, really. We'll look at it one more time and I'll just keep it up. Yeah. This is what they have now for their free section. Yay! Shit. We could remake this one right here. Let's do that. They got a black and white texture right here. And I'll show you. Yeah. Painted pavement. Okay. That's not bad. We could make something like that. That's very doable. So we're going to save this as tutorial YT last. So you guys get the basic idea for that. But let's go ahead and try to recreate that texture and add on a couple different things. Yeah, Adobe's free section. It's Gauge MP5. Because it's going to be mostly gaming now. But I mean, I did, what was it? I showed like how I did my openings and everything like that. Yeah, perfect example, you know. Just I was like, hey, well, because again, like you see these people. That's the problem. I will say with Rumble is people jump in and they're like, hey, I love your content, and I'm like, I don't even have one sub. It's like, my name's Phil with such and such, and I would love for you to go ahead and we're gonna boost your ratings. And I'm like, I'm good, dude. I can do this all vanilla, man. I'm like, I got, you know, it's like it's really hard to get subs. I'm like, well, I actually worked for, or I worked on my own channel over on YouTube, and that's doing okay. And they're like, yeah, but it takes a lot more than to get 100 subs. I'm like, I was up to like 500 subs or whatever I thought, and I'm well over that. I think I'm at like, I forget what I'm at. I've been away for a while. You know? That's literally me. I had some stupid emails. Yeah, it's ridiculous over on Rumble, man. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. That's the only problem I will say with Rumble. But these guys, that's what they do. They're like, we'll make your own. We'll make a thing for you, and all they're doing is they're just going into Adobe, and you're basically paying for their Adobe subscription and whatever else. And I'm not knocking marketing guys. Hey, look, sometimes they might have better connects or have whatever, but for what I'm doing, I'm just playing games here or there. you know? And I'm just like, hey, look, I found a cool way to do stuff so people don't have to continuously get ripped off by giant corporations. Qual, thank you for the follow over on Rumble, man. Hell yeah. It's freaking ridiculous. Um, so again, we have our roughness here, our map range. We changed this, and we can see that there. What were we doing? We were doing something completely different. So file, save, we'll do a new one. And we're working, we'll make a box. And we're going to use a lot of the blending here. So I'm going to grab a couple blending because when you click on blend, you have multiply, add, subtract, divide, max, min, switch. We'll go through these in a minute. Right here, it was a box. So you want to start off with whatever you're looking at here. Well, we're dealing with mostly squares. And if you look at it like this, it's the whole point is you need to cut it out and see what you're dealing with. So we'll jump in here and we'll bring down our sides to 4. And 1, we're going to bring up all the way. So we're going to bring this radius up to, that's 1.2, 3, 2, 1, 1.25, I'm guessing. We'll zoom in. And because this is a polygon, Valve gives a lot of textures for people to play with. They do. But again, I mean, if you're nice, hell yeah, dude. I do like Valve. The Source engine is a great engine. And they do give you a lot of stuff. But don't forget those textures that you used were probably in 40 other people's maps. I'm just saying if you want something that's unique, because people do notice. And if you're looking at the state of gaming now, everything's just fucking copy and paste. Shit. I'm going to be swearing. I'm going to get all my strikes tonight and just kill my channel. All right. So we're going to go right here. And again, we have a polygon. It's working in vectors right now. We're going to change it over and turn this into a picture file. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to scale it down. It's not letting me do anything right here. Now, the reason for that is the tip of this and the vector, when you took this, it took a snapshot, like a screenshot, and changed it to a texture. So let's bring the radius down to 1.24. See how it jumped down? That's because the scale is supposed to be at 1, a 1-to-1 ratio. But this little edge on the polygon, that little amount of black is what we need. So we have this open, and if we tile this, we'll just use a regular tile. We will need a checkerboard. Tiling. And you could press spacebar right here, and you could probably type it in. We're going to tile that, and it's tough to see. So, again, we're going to scale it down. And it's not that type of tile. Huh. So what you do is you click on the tile and you change the offset. Now you have your X's, and we need to look at where we're going to cut this out from. So we have one tile in here, one there. It's very repetitive. See if we can zoom in here. God, textures.com's gone downhill. Everybody's greedy for money now. I'm going to work with just one for the moment. So I'm going to take one tile and I'm going to do 2 rows by 2 rows. And you can either do that for here, and we can go down here. We'll do a 1-to-1. So these two are kind of matching each other. Now right here, what we have is we'll bring this, we'll do another transform 2D. And we're going to have to start blending these together. So on this one, we're going to want to make this one even smaller, because you see these little gaps here? That's what we're working with. So we'll go like that, and we'll scale this one down a little bit. And we're at what? What was this? 0.98. This is point. We'll see how this looks. because you want to kind of keep it even. Yeah, nothing's unique until, you know, unless you make it yourself. So this right here is on top of this one. You got to look at it like a math problem. Whatever, you have your number on top, number on bottom. So if we do subtract, it's going to go all black. But if we minus this from this, now we have another one there. So we have a line. Let's bring this down a little bit more. We're going to scale this to about there. And we can take another transform 2D. And this is like exactly what you're paying for with Adobe. They have like Substance Designer, Substance Maker. What is it called? Substance something. Some substance. That's all this is. We're going to take this. Or we could take, you know what? Let's take it from this one. And we're going to scale this down even more. And this was 0.89, 0.98. That is a 0.88. We'll go down by tens. So we'll do 0.78 here. And then same thing. We will minus this from this. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll add this to this. There. And you see what we're doing now? We're slowly doing, I don't know how many are going there. Substance Painter 3D or something. Yeah, that's based, not Painter. No. There's Substance that you got to choose the textures to paint on it. And they try wrapping all that in. I mess around with some projects here and there. I got some stuff that I'm working on. It's not totally set in stone. I've been playing with different things. I made stupid little projects in the past that I haven't really released yet. But someday, maybe. Someday. Now we're going to take this one. Same thing. Transform 2D. And we're at what? 0.78? So we'll do 0.68. And we'll subtract this from this one. Where did the thing go? There we go. So we'll minus this from this. Now, if it starts to look a little, this looks like it's too big, you can just go right over and you can start scaling it up or what have you and just eyeball it. You can also look right here and just say, okay, if I'm taking this by this, there's math to it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. With playing stuff, that's how I am as well. Stuff to make. I want to turn something into more. Yeah, exactly. And that's how you learn, you know, because you're going to pay all this money to tinker around. Makes no sense to me. Now, what we have here is we have our blank canvas. We're going to change this into a height map. So here's our height, because this is a PBR maker. We're going to plug it right in. We can't see anything. Tiling, we're going to bring to 1. It's at 1024. I'll bring it down to 512 to cut out the computing power for the time being. And we're going to go ahead and we'll take anything right now. We're just going to take right here our solid cell and we're just going to throw it up and plug it into there so we can see what we're working with. And then the same thing here down to our normal map so that we got the shading. Now this right here, we have our tile. I'm going to pull that. We're going to tile this. So it's getting there, kinda. But let's blend, and we'll multiply this by this. And what's happening here, now you'll notice that this isn't all one. We'll deal with that later. This is just so we can get a visual. We can go ahead and we can throw another map range in here. And what the map range does, once again, is it just brings down the actual amount of how blurry it is. There. Now we can get a better view. And once you go ahead and you make these, yeah, I think tinkered around with Substance Painter when I wasted $80. Yeah, exactly. You make a couple cool skins, whatever. Agma, I love Agma materials. It's great. One of the better ones. And they're working on these, and they're open source. So if you know coding, or hell, take a couple some classes. YouTube's great, but they're terrible for freaking creators. It's like, I don't want to wake up or be at work or whatever, and I get this thing. It's like, your video has a whatever. I don't know. I said something stupid. I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know, that guy's, retarded or whatever. Yeah, that's what it was. They were like, oh, sir, the individuals with disabilities. I'm like, whoa. And I sent it back to him. Like, you think I would put individuals with disabilities for people that are freaking... No. Retards and individuals with disabilities. Those people try very hard. They work jobs. They have their own homes. They're great people. There's a bunch of fucking retards out there, though. I'm going to get kicked off here, man. I'm so used to Rumble. But yeah, they were like, yeah, no, we didn't mean it that way at all. It's like, no, you grouped them in with the same people. Like, that is slander against individuals with disability. You know, and they reversed the strike. Yeah, so immediately they did that. I posted it up on a couple things. I threw it up on a Reddit. Like, can you believe this? I threw it on my X account. I'm like, look how freaking these YouTube's gone retarded. Like, and within a day, it was, heck, less than a day. They looked at it. I fought the strike. Oh, sorry. No, we didn't mean that. It's like, no, you did, because you said it right there. Look. And they were like, oh, we'll consider this matter closed. We reversed the strike. I was like, yeah, well, whatever. What you just did was retarded. Now you get the, it's 2023, man. Because that's when I stopped messing around with YouTube. I forget when my last one was. I'm like, the words change, right? Words change. So, hello. Yeah, good old YouTube. You obviously didn't mean... Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. So I told them exactly what I meant. And it's like, go ahead, give me a strike. So they reversed the strike, and I'm like, too late. You already lied. I will not stream on a hateful platform like YouTube. Because they clearly were grouping the two in together. No. Homie, don't play that. Exactly. And it's like, I'm not putting up with that shit. So, but at the same time, I know there's people that come here to check out how to do things. And I still use YouTube. But as a creator, I mean, this is it. This is my last stream. I'm done. I won't deal with those guys. They're a giant corporation, and they're a bunch of fucking retards. A retard is a person that chooses to be stupid. A person that chooses to be beyond stupid. Like, you touch a hot stove, you burn your hand, you're like, oh my God, it's hot. Maybe if I do it again, it won't burn. And then you touch it again knowing damn well that it's going to burn you. That's retarded. Or standing in traffic and then you get hit by a car and say, oh, how did that car hit me? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. People are smarter than that. Individuals with disabilities, hardworking people. Heck, I'm a human rights officer. I got that for life. I went and took the test. I know all about individuals with disabilities. Back when they used to call them clients. which I guess, you know, they were trying to do it. It was back when there's a reason why we don't have asylums open anymore, because everything went back into the private sector. Capitalism is great, gave us everything that we have, but it can be used for some pretty evil crap, man. And that's where these corporations came from. And YouTube is no different. It's a giant corporation. Make no mistake. But back to this, I'll rant over on before they shut down the stream, before I'm done showing you guys, you know, how to not spend money on corporations. So I do this right here. This is stitching. If I have a lot going in a row, I just kind of put them up on top of each other. And then that way I know that it's stitched. So we have this right here. Let's continue on. We have this one, this one. What was the last one we dealt with? Right here. So we're going to bring this down even more. YouTube, Unity, Adobe, 10 million others. Yeah, exactly. They're all one and the same. They're all backed by the same people, man. It's ridiculous. You can't change my mind. It's rented software and nobody can tell me different. I got the receipts for it. Straight from the horse's mouth. They were like, yes, it's a subscription. Right, rented. We don't like to use that word. Why? Because you're calling it what it is? Sorry. Not sorry. We'll go up here. We're going to scale this down. And if you don't see anything, remember, each time you add something, by default, it goes to multiply. So this one, we're going to subtract. And we're going to subtract that from that, and we're going to click on Transform 2D, and we're going to continue to scale it down. Now, we're not seeing this because this one needs to be put on top of that one, so you have to add it. And now you can see this. I believe it was what? 1, 2, 3, 4? Was it 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lee. Will you stream elsewhere? Yeah, I'm on Rumble, Joe. I'm doing a lot of gaming. But I do occasionally, like if I'm making that guy, let's see here. If I'm making something like anything like my starting soon, I got, let's see here. Nope, not that one. That's Be Right Back. I got my exit, you know, all the fun stuff. I just basically like, yeah, I made all this, and I just explained what I've learned throughout the years. You know, there's no sense in, I hate seeing these, do you want to learn whatever? Pay for this class. It's like, go on YouTube, go on Rumble. I noticed there's none of this on Rumble. You know, they got freaking, I did another one right here is what I did. I'm like, oh, all right, well, I'm Gauge MP5, so shit, let's do MP5. You know, things like that. So I just showed how I did everything because it might not be perfect, but it might give you ideas as to what you want to do. That's all that I care about, is what are you going to take away from it without spending. People, prices are freaking ridiculous. Digital goods, they're not goods. People didn't have to farm them. People didn't have to, they typed a few things and then they copy and paste. I mean, they sell a key and that's it. So we're going to bring this down. Well, we get the idea. We'll do one more. So let's grab the height here. We'll go here. Now we can plug this in to update it. There's this here for the height. And for the checkerboard, let's bring it up a few. Now you can see that I'm just on the fly changing how my texture is going to look. And right here we have tiling. What if we take this tile and we plug it in here? It's all tile and air. Oh. Now, again, black is the absolute lowest, white is the absolute highest, so gray is somewhere in the middle. It's always good to use those gray scales, or they call them map range. So we're going to plug the map range in here, and then I like to keep it somewhere in the middle in case I do need a super low point or a super high point. And then you can see it move down. See how I'm up here maximum? Hey, Rusty Bass. Thanks for the Rumble follow, dude. Much appreciated, man. Please show me how to make Roblox assets professionally. There is no professional method, man. Companies wing. You're right. Professionalism went out the door back in like 2012. It's all shady and shisty now. It's if it's what looks good to you and what you consider good for the final product. And ultimately, whoever's using your product, if they say, dude, I would definitely pay you money for that, that's professional. And also, if people are gonna pay you money for it, tax purposes, you can't forget that because you don't want to skip out on your taxes, you know. And you certainly, I'm just showing you a way to not use ridiculous software for ridiculous amounts of money. It might not be ridiculous if you're working for if you're working for EA, they're going to pay for all your tools. I mean, you're going to have to go to college and all that other stuff, but what are you doing? You're just spending time learning stuff. The best way to learn things is to go hands on, get in there. That's what you should do, Benny. Like, just say, you got to think, all right, what do I want? Write it down. You know, like, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and we happened to see this free texture right here on textures.com, which is one of like 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 21, 22. There are 23 textures now. PBR textures on textures.com. Otherwise, you have to pay for. It's not even a subscription. They give you points or whatever. Heck, what do they call them? Credits. Please insert 30 credits. Yeah, can't teach you. You gotta. There's tons of good stuff, but don't stick to YouTube. There are great creators over on Rumble, man. There's great creators on all different. I tried doing Kick, and Kick is. I can't stand Twitch. Jeff Bezos during 2020, when everybody was really hurting, or 2021, and then he rose the price of Prime. People are like, but why? He's like, because I can. It's like, yep, okay. It was the biggest, those years, played Roblox basically my entire life, basically. Roblox is evil. Roblox is super evil. That's another, that's one of the evils of capitalism. Like using kids to make content, and yeah, it's not to mention, you already, when you run Roblox, especially if you, I think they have a client, right, that you can download. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, boom. Roblox is it's, if you have another client, perfect example. I'm using this program, right? If this program, I gave it 100% permissions. Now, anything that goes into this program, it's going to bypass any security that you have because you already gave it permissions. So if you connect to a server and it has a malicious script in it, you're in trouble. And they do that crap. I mean, look what's going on with TikTok right now. Holy crap. Am I happy I did not put that on my phone? If you have that, or Temu, that's another one. I disagree. Roblox provides the platform, assets, servers. Right. Okay. Yeah. No, it does. Yes, I will say that. Yeah. Well, that's not true. I mean, you got Resonite, you got a couple other ones. Like, what's the one from Epic took a shot at that, and it's still out. It's almost exactly like Roblox, but it's all, you create everything that you want. But yeah, Roblox is good if you're getting into it. But if somebody approaches you and you're a kid and they're like, I have a business opportunity for you, they're like, hey, this is probably not 100%, But there's a good chance they're thinking, this kid's an idiot. We're going to take advantage of him. And you really don't have any legal standing. It's your guardians that do. Keep that in mind too. Now, this right here is the next one. We're going to stick this here, and we're going to throw this one into the normal map. And now it's really starting to pop out. Now we need... what else do we need? We need one going down here and one going over there. So we want to cut some lines through here and some lines through there. So what we can do is we can go back to our checkerboard. And would you look at that? Cool. Now, as for the middle part, this tile, we can go ahead and we can add other things. Let's take this normal map and we'll stitch it right there. This doesn't look too bad, but I am going to bring up the range. And I'm going to bring this down. So now we have this. It's perfectly tiled. We got the checkers. And right in the middle, I want to use, let's make this a gold seam. Because it started off, I guess, we were trying to copy it. Now I'm not going to do it. To make a gold seam, you know it's going to have to be right down the middle. So we're going to go back over here and we're going to do another tile. And let's choose this. And we'll work with it from here. So offset, we want to have no offset. That way it's not bricks. It's just tiles. We are going to change it first into a 2D image. And to do that, we transform it to 2D. So we're going to choose this, and then we're going to plug this into the tile. Now our rows, 2 and 2. Let's see what happens when we overlay this with this. So we can either come down here or we can go up top and over. And by going up top and over with the transform 2D, I can go ahead and I can scale it up. And I can thin out the lines here. So now here's our tile. And here's this. But I want this to be pretty much shiny. And the rest not to. That's your roughness and your metalness that you're dealing with. So if I take the roughness and I go boop, it's kind of tough to see. Now it's overlapping onto these, so that means we just have to thin it out a little bit. So we're going to go back to our transform 2D and we're going to bring this up, the edges, just a little bit. Because when we tile it, what's going to happen is, here, we'll tile this by 3. When we're dealing with this right here, we don't want it to go on the edges. We can do a couple different things. We could probably bevel it. I don't mind beveling whatsoever, and we'll need a blur. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to bevel it, and it kind of makes it rounded out a little bit. But I want it to be reversed. So another word for reversed is invert. So we're going to go up and we're going to choose invert. From black to white, white to black. And now that that's inverted, because it automatically, when you bevel it, it inverts on its own. Now we have that right there. And we can bring down our bevel distance to right about there. Now let's plug that into our tile. And it calmed it right down to right there. And if you need to, you can just change the, where is it? The tile, bevel, transform 2D. You can bring up the scale so that it gets a little bit thicker. Now, same thing with the metalness, but metalness is the same thing, but if you want it more metal, it needs to be white, not black. So you want to go ahead and you want to invert that. And we're going to do that right now. Invert. We've already inverted one. And here's another perfect example for stitching. Just kind of put them right on top of each other, so that they're not going out and all over the place. And if you need to get another point out here and make another block, then it's right here. Say we want to use just this and metalize that. Well, there you go. But we want it from up here, but we want to invert it. And let's see here, metalness. Now the inside's all metal. This right here, though, before we tile it, we're going to make another tile. Do the same exact thing. Tile right there. We're going to change the offset. We don't want it on the bevel. We want it on right here. But see, now I can just move it right out, and you don't have all these crisscrosses, because once you start connecting lines all over the place, it gets real hard to read these. Real hard. We're going to take this, the tile, we're going to bring down to 1, 2, 2 by 2. And this is the black. Once again, I'm going to invert it because it starts with white first and then black. But here's the problem. I have an edge around here each side. Well, it might not be a problem. We'll check it out. Let's go back to our color, which is our albedo. Here's the two that are mixed up right here. This is a blend. We want to go ahead and we want to take this blend and we want to blend it one more time. And we want to add this directly on top of this. This is multiplied. We want to add it. So now that pasted it directly on top of it, but it still kind of used a little bit of the shaved off points. So what we're going to do is we're going to max it. Completely max it out. And did you see how that went straight down? Got our line right there. Now this is just 512 by 512. We'll throw it here, here. We got our metalness. Beautiful. Now we can go ahead, throw that into our albedo. It's getting there. But what we need is we need either a color to colorize it, or another thing that you can do is they have gradient maps, which is great. I love gradient maps. So you have a black and white. We're going to plug that right in here. For the white, I'm just going to choose yellow. And there we go. Now we have our yellow gold trim. This is way too high. And we can do the same thing right here. We can make all the inside of this the lowest points. Specifically, we got this. Here's our map range. So right here, this is our height. And there's another way of doing this, actually. So we'll take the tile, we'll move that down. These checkers, you're going to be using a lot of rearranging. This one goes here. We will put these out. And this will go up a little bit. Same with this. I'm going to take this one and this one. And whenever I have two, I just kind of do something like that. That way, you can keep the height and the normal right near each other. and then we have a tile. Now, with this tile, same thing. We want this right here. We want it colorized. So, what you should do, what do you think? I would take another gradient map. Instead of yellow, we'll do like a little darker yellow. Yeah, is it? Yeah. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about Roblox. It's gonna get, if you make something great and you love it, don't sell it. Don't, like, if it's a program or anything like, you know, Roblox, say you make the next great Roblox. If you sell it, somebody is going to exploit it and they will turn it into garbage. I can take this now, right here, and I can add this to this. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to add this one to this one. And plug it in. Now, see what happened? Did the opposite of what we wanted. So we got to invert it. Take our invert, plug that in, and there's our gold trim. Now, the gold trim here didn't show up, so I'm going to untake that one off because we did use this one for gold trim. And we can do the same exact thing. Or we can go, this is where it gets a little bit hairy. This is half the fun. It's like a game in its own. It's called, did it work the way you wanted it to? This one, this one. Beautiful. That goes right in. This blend, we're just going to add it, bring it up a little bit. Now let's bring down our height because that still looks a little bit too high for me. So we have our metal trim right on the inside there, but we still have the yellow. No matter what, these are still yellow. It's just one is kind of a gold because we added on our, like, the actual metal to it. Valve lets you sell your items. Yes, yes, they do. Valve isn't a bad company, but they are a company that wants to make lots of money. And when they charge like 30%, I can't tell you how many times. Go online right now. Go on Valve and look to see what the most expensive game is. And tell me that's not a money grab. A lot of things, sometimes there's games on there. I've seen games that are like $700 and somebody's like, it's not even a full game. It's not what they advertised. It's literally just a bunch of assets sitting around. And the reason why they did that wasn't because it was a game. It's because they used stolen credit cards in order to pay for the game. So they put a game up, right? A lot of different countries will do this. They'll create a game, quote unquote, and then here's their game that they made. Here's the shady company right here. And the shady company took money from, I don't know, let's say it's one of those, hey, it's the IRS. We need to do your taxes. Blah, 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 blah. You owe us money. Or the Amazon scams. You ever see those scammers? Yeah. Well, when they get credit card numbers or they ask for gift cards, they ask for Steam cards. They don't care. Because that money still goes to the developers if it's a Steam card or a credit card. It doesn't matter. And they save them up, and then you'll see, like, at the top of a list, a game that's just a garbage game. Well, they paid 30%. People are like, why would they pay 30%? Because they're laundering the money. They paid nothing to get those stolen credit card numbers. They paid their guys pennies, over in, a lot of it happens over in India. And then they take those games and they plug it in. Here's your shady game. Here's your shady company, right? Shady game, shady company. They put it in a Valve. They put it together. And then all of a sudden, the output, is basically, they take 30%, right here. And then Valve pays them out and they delete the game and they disappear. And overnight, they usually do it on off hours. You know? Yeah, shitty cash grabs from Roblox. You're going to find scammers everywhere. It's just be street smart, you know, or net smart, I guess. Don't give information to anybody for that crap. Okay, so we got our invert here. We got that one. Cool. So now that we have this tile, I do want this to go down. So we're going to go back down to our height map and our map range. And we're going to bring this down just a little bit more. Nice. What does this look like here? Beautiful. Now we could choose this as well to be part of the metalness. If we want to do that, we can plug this straight. Is it this one? Yeah. And now all that's metal. Here, let's unplug this. We'll plug this one into the tile. There. And same thing. Now we have metalness right there. Yeah, there. That looks pretty good. So again, we could take this right here. I'm happy with this, but here's the thing. This is 512 by 512. So we want to bring this up even more. We're going to bring it down to 2048. We boosted it up to 2048. Now we can zoom in without all the extra hoopla. And this solid cell, say we want to make this a little bit different, you just add on to this. So it's always good to give yourself extra room. We'll save this as bump tile. And when I click this right here, I'm going to choose a folder. I'm going to right click, new folder. Bump tile. We got our bump tile. I'm going to select our folder. See AGMA materials made, bump tile. That works. Export. Bump tile, select folder. Then if you look down in the bottom right hand, boom. Exported successfully. So we have all our PBRs right there. Good to go. I'm going to go into here, open. And I like to add in, oh, I didn't put it in. Ah, but damned. Okay. So C, AGMA materials. And we're going to go into material. What did I do? Import, export, materials. Right. And then made. And then bump tile. There we go. There's our PBRs. So we have this one right here. I'm going to Shift D. And this one's going to be a normal map. So do that, Shift A. And we're going to go to Vector, normal map, and just plug that right in. So we can start to get the little offset. Right here, bump tile, open image. We'll use this as metalness. Color into metallic. Now we can see where the metal is. That's exactly where we put it. And the same thing with roughness. Right here, Shift D, open, height, roughness. Not bad. We got the glisten, perfect. So we had the metal plus right here is the super smooth part. Now, if we were to take this and smooth this out, this as well would happen. We also have a displacement. Now, displacement maps or height maps, those vary. But we're going to add that in a different way. I'm going to do it straight through here. We're going to do a new texture, open. See, Agma Materials. I put it in right here. Made. And we will do... What was this from? Oh, yeah, that was when I was streaming over on Rumble. Bump tile. And then here's our height. So we have our height map. And all we got to do with this is we'll jump back into our layout. I'm going to select this right here. I'm going to add a displacement modifier. And I'm just going to select this texture. Now nothing's popping up because it's just one solid piece. So if I hit tab, I hit shift and R, I can scroll it up until it gets right to the middle. And that is 60 cuts. So control R over here, 60, enter, and then right. Tab. There we go. Now, the strength is at 1. I can bring this down just a little bit. From there, I mean, that's a lot of polygons. So, we're going to apply the displacement modifier. We're going to hit tab. And I'm going to hit A, X, limited dissolve. Now there's not nearly as much. You still have some cuts and stuff, and you can, you got to clean it up a little bit. But it's a great start, especially if you're prototyping. These are what you should be using for placeholders. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to different people and they said, "Hey, yeah, we're using free assets, or we're using paid assets that are, seen in every other game, but they're just for placeholders." How often do you think they really replace? They very rarely. And don't get me wrong, if you're making your own game and you're doing it alone, you might have to do that. You might actually have to, because modeling takes a long time, Rotate on the Y, we'll do 90. But all this, what you're learning here, it works for everything. I'm going to press G on the Z. I can change that into a wall, and then I can add an array to it. And then finalize that and then save it as whatever. So let's add a light. We'll do a point light, I guess. G on the X. Well, that's an example. Game Roblox is a lot of, yes. They only care about profits for years. Items. Yeah. Really? I didn't know I thought that was the whole point of people using Roblox, was so that they could sell it for money. What are they doing? Information brokering? I used Roblox a couple times, and it's not bad. It's fun. I use other things, So right here, we're going to go G on the X. We'll go to rendered. And let's select the wattage to bring that up. And this will give you a basic idea of what it will look like when you throw it into whatever engine you're using. I haven't logged into my Epic account in a while, I don't feel like. But you get the idea. Now you have a model. You've made the texture. You've made the model. You've made this tile. And you can throw it into a game. And you got a floor. Or you got a wall. This is now yours. This isn't anyone else's. This is yours. You made it. And then, see, we're not done though. So let's now that we have this and we exported this, let's go down here and we'll jump into Materialize. Materialize is a great program. It's not taken seriously from outsiders. It's because it reminds me of VRML, man. It reminds me too much of Second Life. It's not one of those I'm trying to think of the name of it. There's a few of them out there. There's one with like awesome coding. Epic made a few of them. Let's open our height map. There's nothing that you can do in Roblox that you can't do in any other like game engine. Yeah, they won't force you royalties, you know, like, okay, cool, here's the server, you can put your project up for free, blah blah blah. I totally get the server thing, but you've just closed yourself off to an entire audience and multiple demographics. The only demographic that you're doing is Roblox users, and that's what, like, kids, and there's a few adults that play it, and God knows a bunch of people that you probably don't want to run into. I'm sorry, if I saw like a 45-year-old man playing Roblox, I'd be sketched out, dude. Why? Oh, I'll play it with my kids. Oh, well, okay, that makes sense. Wait a minute, you don't have kids. You know, it gets kind of, yeah. So that was a brush that I made. Yeah, you can make brushes with this. Let's go into materials and we'll go down to made. Where are we? Oh, wait, what's favorites? Agma materials. There we go. Boom, made. Thank God I saved it. What did we save it? Bump tile. Oh, that's the height map. Okay, diffuse. There we go. And we're going to open up our height map, show full material. Not bad. Let's zoom this out. We'll do the next cube map a couple times, get it a little bit darker. And we can create our own normal map from that, show full material. So that's another way of doing it. Here, create, set as normal map. There we go. And then you can create your own metallic map from this as well. I don't want these stitches to show up. So if I open metallic, there we go. That's good. Show full material. That's what I wanted. But we can go ahead and create metallic. Let's mess around with the blur overhead size down here. We'll bring up our inlay so that it's really sparkly. And then we'll flip these like this. Set as metallic, show full material. And then you basically get the same thing. This gives you a lot more control over what you're doing. Yeah, there's a lot of weird people on Roblox. Exactly. You got, yeah. No. But I get it for like servers and stuff like that. But if you're making a project that you want a lot of people to play, you want something with an executive file or something to make like a APK. But like, and with voice changers and shit out there now, man, you know, like my Google account, like at this point has turned into a throwaway account just because of like bull crap. Roblox, there's so many different scripts you can run in that to grab people's stuff and just rip. It isn't a kernel. I know that. Which means like when you install, Steam does kernel stuff. Like it takes your hardware specs and it knows exactly your location and what you're using. That way, if you're playing Rust and you cheat, they know you cheated. Oh, well, I go on the Rust forums. Look how many freaking people are being banned, like as we speak. Smoothness map, which is also known as roughness. We're going to open up the roughness that we had. And we're going to select it and show full material. There we go. There's the metal that we wanted. So between this, see how it's looking a little bit different because we used a couple different programs? Same thing with the edge map. We're going to create our own edge map. And we're going to bring the pinch down, up, 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 up. And we're going to pillow it out to make it darker. Final contrast goes up. We'll bring down the edge amount just a little bit. There we go. Set as edge map, show full material. Now we've just defined the edges. And AO. Ambient occlusion is great. It's tough to use in Blender, but if you're using Unreal, or heck, you're using Unity, God forbid. After what they pulled, man, I'm still pissed at those guys. You know, fuck Unity. We're going to go here. We're going to create. And we'll bring down the bias. Set. Show full material. Now we... Look at that. I'm happy with that. That looks like something you'd get on textures.com. But we just made it. We didn't pay anything for it. And you know what? You can follow this tutorial and you can have it too. That's fine. 100%. That's yours. But if you were to put this on and you were to screenshot this and Google reverse image it, this won't show up anywhere. Things like it will show up, but this exact texture will not show up at all. At all. Because we just made it right now. So here, I want to use PNG. Well, we're not using any alpha maps, so we'll use JPEG. If you're using alpha maps, PNG, TIFF. Or is it JPEG? I know TIFF is definitely one of them. We'll use JPEG. And then we'll go down here and we will save the project. Bump tile, file name, revamp, select. Save project file, there we go. Cancel. Got all that. Let's do the next cube map. See if it, yeah. You can definitely tell the difference. So we have this right here. Let's jump back into here. So this little wonky thing that we made right here that still looked pretty good, wasn't bad. We're going to now jump back into our shading. We're going to open and we're going to do revamp, and they're all labeled for us. So bump tile and revamp, we imported those. Those are the exact same thing. Bump tile metalness and revamp metallic are two separate ones. So we're going to go down to our metallic and we are going to open revamp metallic. Starting to notice the difference. Roughness. Revamp smooth. Where are you? Why am I not open? So that was the same thing too. Open. Here's our bump tile. Here's the revamp. Open. And we're going to do rendered. And things really pop in when you start to use AO. And most importantly, we have our height map or our displacement. So we got to go back down into here. Here's our bump tile. We're going to open and revamp height, open image. Oh, because we already did that. That's why you want to wait until you actually, because we added it as a modifier, and then after we added it as a modifier, we made it permanent. Instead of making it permanent, we should have, what the hell? We'll add another one. Why the hell not? Displace. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Texture. There we go. And then we can bring down the strength. And the glossiness is a little bit different, but what you're seeing in here is the way that it'll look like in Unreal or wherever else. Blender can't do AO right off the bat. There's some things that you can do to plug it in that'll do it, ambient occlusion. But what we can do is we can add a height map to the strength and go from there. But yeah. So that's how you add textures to, you make floor wall textures, whatever. And again, the great part about this, Control S to save, they got examples. They got foil gasket. You sit there and you're like, whoa, no way. Oh, shit. 1x. And this is just 1024. Let's do 2048. To revamp this in Materialize and mess around with it, it's all drag and drop now. But you can see exactly what they did. You can go ahead and you can change the row count, make it more fluffy. Or you can take, and again, these are theirs. These are the example models. But you can take bits and pieces or learn off them. Just what I would recommend is file. Here, let's go into sand. No. This is a lot of mixing and blending. And then what they did here was they overlaid. And then they masked it on top of each other. And same thing, looks like, yeah, see, they used a gradient map. These things are great. See the difference down there? You can change the color. If you want to randomize it and change it a little bit different, go over to your tile sampler. We can change our row count. And we can also do, let's see here, position. Change those. Random rotation, random positions. Move it around. You could do random positions up here too. Wait, where are you? Oh. Blend, blend, blur, warp. Circle, tile. Let's change the offset to that. And with this blend, I'm going to bring down the scale to make that more defined so that it looks rougher. You can zap it so that, see the lines now? So you can change things as is, And then from there, you refine it down here in Materialize. Then after you make a bunch of them and you have these refined textures, you can import them into Mixer. Because again, it's like, I don't know how many times, freaking Adobe. $49.99 a month. Everything that we just did, I could throw it in Agma Materials and start painting on a texture. Or I could, if you've watched any of my Rust tutorials, we could go ahead and we can make a different, it's a material ID map, which is just colors, solid colors, and then assign a texture to each color using, shit, what the hell's that thing called? The thing that does the stuff there. Blah, blah. Oh my goodness. Mixer. Wow. And then you got it. But again, Adobe is rented software. 100%. And if you steal from them, it would, it says right in their EULA, you will have it pulled off. Anything that you buy pirated, you will have your game taken down, and you may be subject to legal action. It happens all the time. Look at how many games get taken down because of one asset, because of one texture, because of one model. It's best to learn this stuff on your own. But we've been going for about 2 hours now. It's not that bad for a hopefully this got helped you guys. You know, again, I'm over at Rumble, Gauge MP5. So I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope to see you over there, but this is my this was my last YouTube stream. Because again, I'm done with corporations, man. I'm done with them. I'm just not doing it because there are other ways. We're living in the open source world right now. Look at and they fear it. Look what they did with the Flipper Zero. Freaking Customs is picking those up because they fear it. And that was put together by multiple people that they put their time, they put their money into it instead of renting all these other things. And yeah, you can still buy them from all those tools that are on the Flipper Zero. You can buy separately. You can buy them. They won't stop those at Customs. But because it wasn't a giant corporation that made it, you know, that's a problem. They don't like it when people figure out stuff on their own, and they will try to belittle you. Well, I use Adobe because it's the industry standard. No, it's not. Not anymore. It's really not. And have you seen because of Adobe being the state of what it is, I'm sorry, have you seen the state of gaming? Everything's the same and everything is garbage. Be new. You got it. Whatever you can think of, you can make up. There's forums out there. You know, that's what my whole Discord community was for. So, as I say, until next time, take care, guys. Take care.